Saturday night in Auckland, home turf of that man, Joseph Parker, for a heavyweight belt. You see the Mexican trim, Mexican flag colors you that if Ruiz can win the fight, he'll be the first. And Max Kellerman with me as these two very active heavyweights off to an active start in Auckland.
Yeah, both seem to have very good hands, quick hands for heavyweight. From Parker may have already put a little bruise under Andy Ruiz so that both guys are fighting it.
This is one of the reasons Joseph dynamic and aggressive and punches in combination. Fight, the look, the aesthetic of the fight's more like middleweights than heavyweight. If you imagine Ruiz in a little different shape.
Ruiz elected not to travel to New Zealand from Big Rockmount.
Parker is generally an aggressive
feet first. Yeah, right foot going back first. He uses those feet first as the first. The other guy fights with his hands first.
Roy Jones training camp in Big Bear, California, and you see the result. Parker firing back. Very good first round.
Getting 35 pounds off of Andy, helping Andy become more mobile.
Seconds remaining in the round was the end. Coming out of that first round, and Ruiz, as he got his jab in several times, and therefore took an early
very technical style kind of soul, and there's been a lot of Eastern European style fighters at the top of the heavyweights. The fight itself, obviously, but in the aftermath, we saw guys like Joseph, fluid style that was more pleasing to watch, and in that first round, boxing to watch in the heavyweight division. It's been a while. Parker hasn't shown it yet, Joshua, but Joshua is a basic and a great amateur pedigree.
Roy Jones does this level of the heavyweight division.
Yes, Andy Ruiz has enough quick hands for a heavyweight, and we never often see really remarkable.
Saw a good combination to the body moments ago by Parker.
This is his part to me. He looks a little more
Max, that comes from being around more seasoned fighters.
As he gets the drop on Joseph Parker here in the second.
I think Parker is at his best when he's got some.
Landing 10 punches as opposed to only 6 in round number.
Remarkable body work for heavyweights that you don't often see. They usually want to throw the big shots to the head to try to get the other guy out. It was so much more spectacular in the viewers' eye.
Parker just fighting defensively here, which is not his.
These two fighters, we see that Parker is the boxer. He's the taller with the shorter arms. So this should be, or it should seem like, Parker has that range that a boxer would want.
But you've brought this up on the air, man.
He just doesn't do it enough. He does it sometime, but he's first. And anytime you're fighting second, it's not really good for you. And Andy can counter too. And Andy just countered him with 2 good shots.
Is Parker going to have to achieve a comfort level?
That because if he continuously goes forward, he stands the risk of running into a head.
Off first in some instances, lead with his jab, and try to counter.
To make Andy try to reach for a counter like that, then you counter Andy back. But he has to do that.
Good 1-2 to the body by Joseph Parker. Draws back with a straight right hand and a left hook to the body. Harold Letterman scoring with us from our perch here in Omaha.
2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Andy Ruiz. The kid throws combinations, throws a good right hand over the top to the head. Good rounds 2 and 3 for Ruiz. 2-1.
And was a compact little guy for the division and fought more. Something about him that's a little more dynamic than Orlin Norris.
A little bit more explosive. Not really the power set, nor the poise that we see with Ruiz. He has punching power in both hands. He throws.
That Parker has to expend a lot of energy to do the same.
There's a certain aura that now attaches that they are training shoulder to shoulder with Gennady Golovkin, who has become
it's an interesting fight so far.
Of the year, and certainly it's been a very round 5. Joseph Parker there on the screen of New Zealand as a tribal chieftain name, but his standard walk-around New Zealand name is Joseph Parker. November of last year between Vladimir Klitschko and Tyson. This fight isn't.
Yeah, compared to that, this is the thriller in Manila.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Son Burner.
That was one of the worst title fights I've seen since the stakes were so high. It was a dramatic moment.
A lot of skill set. They just depend on their. 2 guys don't have that size advantage, so they have to have true craft to dominate the division.
Trainer for Joseph Parker. maybe not as proven on the world bar in this situation.
See what Parker just did? I think he's a more effective fighter more.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Max, but the only thing that he's probably thinking is that when he's on Ruiz, and he doesn't want to get knocked out in the process of that.
With the left hand, Joseph Parker landed 3 straight left hooks, a spell of inactivity there for a moment, continues that way. Joseph Parker is having trouble finding exactly the moment at which to be effective as the fight goes on.
Yes, he is.
Saturday night in Auckland, New Zealand, 8 as we prepare for tonight's main event here in Omaha.
He'll fight it himself, and he's not going to buy into those traps. He has done a lot of studying to have these moves. I see a lot of
different, and you tailored your style to your unique gifts.
See, special. Look at that. These are things that I love to do when I was, but hard works outdoes it all. See that? That was one of my favorite comments.
But jab, I like his crisp jab.
Yeah, but that pawing jab sets up what we want to set up. He knows pawing jab gives Andy a reason to come after it. When he comes after it, that's a pawing weapon. It's giving him room to be more comfortable.
Well, I mean, the fighter do this so far this round.
No, I've been seeing it the whole fight, though, Max. I just didn't want to see it. Or has had to at some point in his career.
But rest assured, it's your responsibility when
you throwing the combinations in the exchange.
Like nothing had happened in the heavyweight division.
And there were body shots involved.
Looked like the 12th round. Round 7 of the scheduled 12 in New Zealand. First 4, Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored midway through?
Jim, I got it 4 rounds to me. He always did that. He looks at you, he looks at you. He would have been doing tremendous. But to tell you the truth, if you watch this and you 4 rounds to 2, Joseph Parker.
Roy is
by him using those pawing punches, he forces Ruiz to keep his hand.
I thought the first round, by the way, it could have gone either way. Generally, I would accept the idea that he is sitting there scoring the action, would be up a little in this fight at this moment.
Now that you guys have agreed, should Andy Ruiz be attempting to counter over that with his right hand?
Yes, he should. His face. Attack him more so that he's forced to punch at the face. Then he can counter at the glove.
We talked about how Ruiz was disciplining Parker hand in the 4th round, the round that Harold gave him. I gave it to Ruiz, but slipping in that left kind of jab hook at times that's keeping Ruiz honest.
Well, it's more likely to back his opponent out with a hard punch is Parker.
I think he's just being cautious because he doesn't want to give the fight away.
Big jab. As a professional or as an amateur. And that bulge because there's less likelihood than
fighting inferior opposition, and this happens to almost all fighters. I've seen more variety in his game. And that's good, more aggressive. And I admire boxers, and I like guys who can use their...
You have to give Parker and his trainer, Kevin Barry, credit.
I could agree with him being more aggressive, but he's at home with those tap shots or pot shots. And
the how it's happening. But, Jim, I want to address what you brought up about giving your way. And you stick with it, and you make adjustments, and you...
But you see how Parker's not allowing him to legs to either walk left or right to get out of those corners. Good, he should be cutting the ring off. If he cuts the ring off, he makes it much more difficult for Parker.
And trade with Ruiz because of Ruiz's greater hand speed, capable of backing Ruiz out of an exchange with one big punch. And that's
a good fight right here in front of us.
A lot of activity in a heavyweight fight, particularly finishing power, slowed down the pace at the top. Big fight with Tyson Fury having relinquished his titles and most particularly from these 2 fighters.
Here, I think, entering at least in he had to travel to Parker's home turf for this fight, and that tells you something a place thinks about these 2 guys. And Ruiz, not that long ago, conversation with Parker, if not with guys like Wilder, Ortiz, and Josh.
With Wilder and Joshua, despite his...
And I also want to say to Ortiz's credit against the top-notch fighter, then it comes alive like no other time. Top-notch fighter, the real Ortiz comes out.
And he reverts to what? To more of a Cuban...
Like Rigondeaux.
Yes.
Rigondeaux against Donnell, a brilliant fight.
If you're
ordinary or boring unless they're in against a real top-notch.
Molina in England. Joshua. Box numbers being charted here in Omaha. Letterman, how do you have it scored 3/4 of the way through the fight?
Okay, Jim, I got it 6 rounds to 3. He keeps coming forward, but he don't let it go enough. Look at this. He lets Parker whack him in the face. It's to 3, Joseph Parker.
Coming at him from Ruiz, his accuracy.
Ruiz is just kind of following him around, which means that he's in charge. Escape right, do whatever you want to do. So he's gotten pretty comfortable.
Report card down.
So far, back, and his body was the one being tattooed by Ruiz. That Parker's shots like that are getting through the goal. Doesn't look like Parker is ready for Anthony Joshua necessarily. Maybe he doesn't look like he's ready for another top guy. So the only way we know of seeing him rocked even as a pro. There's no and fighters who look vulnerable.
Joshua just landed some really good body shots in that last exchange.
Body shots, Roy.
Always the right time to throw body shots, just like he ended.
Yeah, Parker's overall connect percentage in the fight, according to CompuBox, there. Jabs which aren't really necessarily intended to land, but
it is thrown to land.
Ruiz just landed some really good body shots as Parker tried to do and even recently in some big fights here in the last 2 rounds. And I suspect that would be the case for most people watching this round.
That's the highest number of connected punches for a little bit more offense as the fight has gone on.
And right there, Jerry, in about round 6 or round 7. Now you see Parker maybe could have been closer to winning the fight on the scorecard.
Solid right hand.
And incidentally, I think Harold has the theme of the fight so far to be he has not moved his hands enough, especially over the second half.
So an attempt has been made to provide a neutral international judge.
Let's see how these international judges feel at the end.
Parker's focus has stayed in place. He has
good body shots.
Good body shots by Joseph Parker. Round 12. People remember a safe-looking 3-point lead here on Harold Letterman's.
Great punch for him, I think. Seems to, because that jab has kept Andy at bay, although Andy just countered it really good.
Incredible, and that's what people remember. And this fight seems to be in the back.
And didn't even phase Andy.
More attention from the judges down the stretch. Andy
interrupted everything that he tried to do just then. Especially in a set of 12-ounce gloves.
The official judges. We know only Harold's unofficial scorecard. A chance for perhaps Ruiz to show us one more.
But the left hook up top didn't land.
Ruiz kind of willed this round for himself.
And you see Parker doing a really good.
Such a good point, Jim. Those were hard shots that discouraged Ruiz.
Some excellent technicianship.
For your win.